Hello everyone and welcome to digit.in. Today again you're going to find me in the studio, not outside. The weather is not very great to be out, but also because today I'm going to be talking about a camera, the Canon 6D Mark II. I can't be really driving with a camera in my hand now, can I? So, which is why we're in the studio. You're going to see some nice shots of the camera because my editors are going to use that green screen they love so much. So let's get on with it. So what do you get with the 6D Mark II? The original 6D came out somewhere around 2012 and now we're sitting in 2018 and the camera actually came out a little earlier this year. With the 6D Mark II you get a 26.2 megapixel sensor. The effective image output is about 24 megapixels, slightly higher. You get a completely new and revamped AF system, which is great. You also get a bunch of firsts. So the 6D was the first DSLR to have built-in Wi-Fi, NFC, GPS, all of that thrown in. And so Canon had to follow that up with something, and that is with HDR movies. Now, Canon's approach to HDR movies is very different from everybody else's. You can read about it all in our review, but they've used a very genius method to give you HDR video in camera without you having to do anything. In terms of the performance and what the camera does and cannot do, it's surprising. My biggest problem with the original Canon 6D, which I incidentally reviewed for Digit, was the fact that the AF system was just not up to the mark. For the time, it had only one cross-type sensor, it was not fast enough, it was not accurate enough. But with the 6D Mark II, you get the dual pixel AF system built in. You get a whole bunch of focusing points, multiple cross-type sensors, which has vastly improved the focusing capabilities of this camera. This means you can track your subjects finely, effectively, but you also need a good lens to pair with this, and that's why within the box you get a 2470 f4 LIS USM version 2, whatever, right? The idea is that this is the 2470 within the aperture of f4. It's extremely small, very compact, very light, and works beautifully because it has an STM compatible motor. So you get good focusing thanks to the lens and a completely revamped AF system. In terms of the imaging performance, now there is a lot of talk about the 6D not having enough dynamic range, or it just meets the dynamic range of the past cameras, etc., etc. Personally, here's the thing: there's only so much information you can squeeze out of a sensor after a point. Expecting a camera manufacturer to constantly keep improving on the DR may be, kind of unfair. So with the 6D Mark II, okay, sure, you don't get more dynamic range than you did before, maybe, but what you do end up getting are raw files, which you can actually edit plus minus 2 stops easily. You can recover information up to 2 stops. You can recover shadow information for up to 2 stops, of course, provided if you expose the shot properly. So there is that. The raw files give you enough latitude to kind of recover detail in both highlights and shadows. So you're not really going to feel the pinch for dynamic range. Those who do feel that pinch will be shooting JPEG. And if you're buying a 6D Mark II, you should not be shooting JPEG. Okay, so that's the imaging part. In terms of movies, you get 4K time-lapse mode built in, which is amazing because you can set up the camera, choose the video output format, the frame rate, all of that, and the camera will do the work for you. What this means is that you don't have to take those thousands upon thousands of raw files, put them into a computer, edit them, process them. It's a time-consuming process. I've shot a lot of time lapses and it takes almost as long, if not longer, to edit the damn thing than it does to shoot it. So Canon's given this to you built in. Very handy, very helpful. I've already talked to you about the HDR movie mode. Unfortunately, that doesn't work very well in low light because of how it works. All the details are there in my text review. You can go read them. But let's take a look at this. For 1,85,000, Canon gives you the 6D Mark II paired with the 2470 f4 LIS USM lens. Or if you want just the body, because you've got a bunch of Canon lenses lying around, then you can buy the body only for about 1,35,000. That's the MRP. If you have a dealer who's a good friend, he'll probably give you a cheaper price. Canon is actually playing in the full frame mirrorless territory right now. Sony's got the very, very capable A7 Mark II, and now with the new A7 Mark III, the competition's even tougher. It's a great time for a consumer who's looking to get into full frame. Both the cameras are great. All these full frame cameras will give you image quality that you've probably never seen before, even if you've been shooting with an APS-C camera. There's a lot of wonderful things going on here, and the fact that you have choice is beneficial to you. Now, with the 6D Mark II, the distinct advantage is that because it's a DSLR, it's much easier to grip over a mirrorless camera. DSLRs balance very well when you hold them, regardless of the size of the lens. The weight distribution is great, and the grip is deep enough for you to hold the camera with one hand and use it as you would want. It generally doesn't tire you out that much. Now, the battery life is also in fact better because you're not constantly using an LCD at the back or the electronic viewfinder. So DSLRs have an optical viewfinder, so you save battery there as well. And of course, Canon has the advantage of insane amounts of lenses that are available for the system. So overall, the 6D Mark II is a very, very lucrative proposition for anybody who's wanting to upgrade from APS-C to the full frame game. Anybody who's on a budget but wants to shoot semi-professional or even professionally, you have the 6D Mark II, which is a good entry point for you right now. In case you found some problems with this review, then just leave a comment below and I will try and make sure it doesn't happen again. Thank you guys for watching.